I don't know if I can really talk. Let me see. I don't know if I have. Let's see. So week 8. I was saying in the end of Thursday's episode, I think instead of doing Friday 2 p.m., we're just gonna count Fridays the whole day as the first day, because it's weird kind of splitting the day up into two, especially when I'm not doing two workouts a day a lot of times lately. So this week I'm still gonna be working on Heian Sandan and the combos of yellow to green. So far this cycle of mine is not making a lot of sense. I am day 4 into this, and I was expecting to have the heavy through the worst of it done by Sunday. That part hasn't really started yet, so now I'm kind of like, I don't even know what my weekend's gonna look like. I could potentially technically go out this weekend if things stay mild, but I don't know if I'm gonna go out because I'm expecting to have cramps and have issues. Yeah, somebody is walking around the house. I hear him right now. But yeah, I'm expecting to have like cramps, issues like that. I thought for sure it would start on like Thursday or Friday. It's Friday now, and I'm not saying I want it to start. It would be nice if it just skipped me. You know, I will not complain if it just doesn't happen. But the anticipation of trying to plan physical activities, or even a 3-day weekend where I can, basically my choices are studying or doing leisurely stuff at home or going out. I need to get out. I really do feel like I need to get out. I'm not feeling that great about being home so much, but I've been saving so much more money and trying not to drive a lot because this car has issues all the time, and I don't want to get stalled somewhere, and the gas costs a fortune. But I'm definitely busy this weekend studying. I'm behind. I need to do chapters 11 through 15. I'm not very proud of my week 7 and week 6 kind of study habits, but I do feel like I've fully needed that, mentality of like a half day every day kind of thing. I don't know, because I'm about to fully grind, so, and let's be real, that 2 weeks off was not really 2 weeks off, because I was doing so many things, and there were obligations of holidays and like hanging out with people and planning and doing stuff that take energy and time and money, energy out of my routine. But I am noticing, it is better to get organized. I would say, yeah, this week, those are the things I'm pretty much trying to get into, is just keeping organized with those style of plans. As far as like, basically the priorities are working out and studying. But, I do need to get out a little bit too, so I'm gonna see how that ends up looking. The weather's been nice in the daytime. But I gotta see kind of what happens with my health situation here, because if it gets to the point where it's kind of acting crazy, then that's really gonna put a damper on my ability or willingness to really make plans that don't involve just lounging around the house. But I don't know, like, there's a lot of unpredictability with this stuff, so I'm still trying to figure that out. But this morning, I'm about to boil some eggs. I had some C4 already, probably like 25-35 minutes ago. Did my weigh-in this morning because it's Friday morning. Did my weigh-in. We're gonna call this day 8.1. Week 8, yeah, fitness week 8, day 1. I don't know, it's just hard to plan because I'm like, well, I know I might want to work out a second time tonight, but then I'm like, well, what am I gonna do tonight, like, because I don't know what this cycle of mine is gonna decide to do. And then I have an appointment that I got scheduled for on a 3-day weekend, so I'm not fully free Sunday morning. And I don't know. I've had a lot of kind of social, not really stressors. I mean, yeah, at the time there were stressors, like things I'm trying to figure out and work with, and kind of getting back into dating situations. Not fully, but like a little bit. Just kind of checking somebody out, I'll put it that way. Checking out a situation. Somebody who kind of reached out to me. Just somebody who I kind of know who reached out to me. Kind of know. I don't know them that well, but I kind of know them enough that I'm like, okay, at least we have like a common, background a little bit to where like, I'm like, yeah, I know you, like a little bit at least. But yeah. So I don't know what I'm doing this morning. I don't know what I'm doing for breakfast. Probably just eggs, protein shake. I really don't know what else. But keep it fairly healthy. I just heard somebody up in the house, so I don't know if that means that they got groceries. Somebody else may have gotten groceries. So I need to check that out before I order stuff. And I did make a list of things I'm trying to get, but it's not a full list. But I was basically going to get some of those Sprouts pre-made meals, bunch of fruits, veggies, stuff to make rice dishes over the weekend. Trying not to get out of hand or out of control with the meals. Trying to keep it healthy enough. I do think even with my limited kind of workouts, because to be real, my workouts, if I'm being honest, have been pretty limited the last couple weeks. On my own, I'm limiting them. I've been the one limiting them. Like I wasn't going as intensely or as often as I wanted to. But with that being said, yeah, like, I don't know, I'm predicting I'm gonna have to work around this cycle of mine, so I really don't even fully know what to expect. I would like to take advantage of having a 3-day weekend. My goal initially was, because today's Friday, I was going to try to bang out all the stuff for class that's going to be due, and just grind, like work out before class, and then from class all the way through class, and as long as it takes through tonight, even though technically there's like, I like to take the Sabbath breaks, but I think it would maybe be more worth my energy to work through the initial part of Sabbath tonight and at least get done what's going to be due early next week, and then maybe take Saturday off fully, and then do some studying. I'm studying the I don't want to talk about what I'm studying, but I'm studying my ancient materials, my ancient books. I'm studying like ancient scrolls. So I don't know. I don't like talking about that on here, but I talk about it elsewhere and study it. So I guess for now that's about it. But I'll keep you guys posted. I'll keep you guys posted how things go. Sorry, I'm talking really quiet, just for my own comfort level. All right, so ending out Friday, day 1 of week 8. Ending out Friday. Today went pretty good. Looks like 103 minutes of exercise. I guess 34 minutes of that was morning stretching. Did some Shotokan in the garage, like 13 minutes. Then at the night time, it was more like tidying for like 11 minutes, just folding stuff up. I almost count that towards stretching because there's a lot of bending and things, and it's mild, but I'm kind of walking from place to place a little bit, like not swiftly, but did 44 minutes of Shotokan last night. Some meditation after that, maybe 9 minutes or so. So Shotokan, it's kind of coming together, I would say. Just out of doing more stuff, just doing it longer. I haven't had a lot of days where I've done it longer, but the past couple days, kind of doing it more has definitely made a big difference. For dinner, I had cauliflower rice with tilapia. It was a frozen tilapia that was oven baked, barely any seasoning on it, and some almost like hush puppy type of things. It was like these little breaded things that had kind of some onion in it. They were kind of more on the savory side. I added 2 boiled eggs and some hummus to that, and then on the fish I smeared a little bit of a thin layer of low-fat Miracle Whip, just because I was like, it needed some flavor. And did I say I added like a scoop of hummus, one of those little hummus cups? For lunch, I had like a little bit of brown rice, some of that teriyaki, that Taylor's farm brand, or I don't know what it says, Taylor's something. Looks like it says farm. Saute. It's like a teriyaki. It's good with those Bear brand chicken, and then for breakfast a couple little waffle bites, 3 eggs and 1 banana. And so yeah, I was a little annoyed today, a little bit, like, because I was in class and the assistant, let me see, it was after lunch. We got back in at 1, and then at 1:11 he tells me, please be on camera during class, which I was. And then I saw the message, and so like a minute later I responded, and then I went through the other students who were also in class, and I looked, because you could see all their pictures because everybody's live, and there were like half the people that weren't on camera, and I checked back maybe 5 minutes later, maybe almost up to like 10 minutes later after that, so it was like 1:20 or so, and a lot of those people weren't on camera. Like, some of them had their cameras off, or like it was just completely blurred, you couldn't see any part of their head, and I was just like, you can see the top of my head. Like, a lot of us, we don't want to be on camera, and it's like, just the screen, how I like my screen bent kind of back a little bit, and just kind of the way I sit, like with my desk and like the angle and the height of the chair and everything. It's like, unless I'm like scooted way up to my desk, you know, my face isn't gonna be in it. Like I have to like intentionally, you know, angle everything. It's not impossible to angle it so my face is right in the middle, but I also don't like that because I have glasses and they reflect. So if I'm like doing something else, like looking at a text or whatever, it, like, you know, my glasses kind of reflect. And so I kind of keep my eyes like where my name is, so that like my glasses aren't like reflecting, so you can see the top of my head over that usually. But I guess it had lowered below that, so you couldn't really see my head. But I was okay with it because I responded right away, pretty much by the next minute. You know, sorry, I think my camera was just like down too low. You know, like my screen was low and my camera was low, and he's just like, you know, thumbs up or whatever. But then, you know, I just adjusted it and it seemed okay. But I think they're realizing, I think some people aren't coming back from lunch and they just keep their cameras on. There's some people that had their cameras on, and we went into like breakout rooms and we're working on some stuff around 2:45 or something yesterday until I think we got out probably closer to 3:15, but we worked together maybe 15 minutes, 30 minutes, and you know, somebody wasn't even there, but their camera was on and they weren't like in the frame. And even when class let out, you know, they never made it into our group, and then they never, you know, when we were leaving the class, their camera was still like that, so they're probably not paying attention, and they're, I don't know, they might have fallen asleep. I mean, it's everybody's got their own things going on. I'm not here to like place judgment on somebody else's situation, because it's not like I spent the whole week diligently paying attention either. But I think, you know, I just don't want to be lumped into the people that aren't doing it right, that aren't like paying attention. I don't want someone to say that I'm not paying attention. Will say that I'm not there when I am there. I wouldn't say that I'm always paying attention. That's not accurate. And someone else in the class, I was thinking maybe it was, maybe they just caught a cold or something, so they were quiet. But the last couple days, this person who usually talks all the time, not disrupt. To me, it's not disruptive because they're talking about the topics, but they ask questions for every single thing. And then I have a feeling that something happened where somebody mentioned to them, maybe in one of our professional settings that we had this week, maybe they got scolded for that or something, or told to like stop doing it. Even though I don't know if it was like, it wasn't like intentionally disruptive, it's just like they would almost treat the class like the instructor is like their own tutor, private tutor. But it's like their questions were relevant and it helped because then the instructor would kind of like repeat it or explain in more detail. But it was like almost every single thing, and I've noticed that when they've been kind of chiming in, they're kind of very cautious to be like either not answering a lot or like just very minimal, you know, maybe chiming in like 2 or 3 times the whole day, if anything, and they don't seem to, like, they're just kind of like hesitant, and even when the instructor is kind of calling on them more and letting them answer, they're kind of like not responding at all. So I don't know, I don't want to get in their business about it. And then, you know, I had, you know, I don't know, like there was, you know, we were using my screen share to kind of do the lab together as our group. And then when the instructor came into our room so we could show them what we had done, one of the other guys was like, let me share my screen and I'll show you what we did, kind of thing. And I was, I kind of wanted to, just because like I hardly ever get to talk. And I had the screen up and ready and everything. And then they shared their screen and they did it, you know. Um, and yeah, like, so I had to stop sharing my screen so they could share their screen and show the instructor their I don't know what we were doing. We were adding OU groups, organizational unit groups, and adding people to those, making user accounts, adding them to those groups, and we were making that on a hypervisor, like on I guess it's a virtual machine, on the computers, on the simulated. I don't know how to explain this. It was like we were making like a simulation of a simulation. Uh, so yeah, but yeah, I mean, it's a 3-day weekend, so so it's a good start to the new week.